Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Modern Moms Roadmap to Balance podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Nettleton, and today my guest is Cheyanne Mills. She is a dedicated fitness professional and online coach with a passion for functional movement, strength training, and holistic well-being. With 7 years of experience in the fitness industry, Cheyanne has honed a unique approach to strength training, helping countless clients achieve optimal movement, injury recovery, and building strength. She was born in San Angelo, Texas. Cheyanne was raised on her family's ranch in Del Rio, Texas. She was active in sports all through her life. This early exposure ignited a lifelong passion for fitness and wellness, understanding the human body, and pushing physical boundaries. Cheyanne began her journey in fitness at the age of 28. Later, she was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. At that point, she went back to her roots and dove into learning more about holistic well-being. Over the years, Cheyanne has acquired certifications from SCW, Mind Pump, NASM, and Schwinn. This diverse background has culminated in a training approach that has its specific qualities, holistic, evidence-based, and client-centered. When she's not coaching, Cheyanne enjoys being outside with her family at Lake Amistad, swimming and fishing. Believing that movement is medicine, Cheyanne consistently obtains education on strength training techniques and regularly attends fitness seminars. For Cheyanne, fitness is more than just a profession. It's a calling. And at Iron Core Wellness, she is committed to guiding each client on their unique journey towards strength, mobility, and holistic well-being. Welcome, Cheyanne. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thanks for the invite. I'm looking forward to doing this.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, for one, I am also someone who strength trains. I love lifting weights. It's like something I love. I've always kind of had an aversion to cardio.
Skinny, them cardio money hard to get away from.
And like strength training has just been a place where I can go and get this like release that I need. And it's also been something that has really lifted up my confidence in myself, and not just to lift heavy, but seeing how strong my body is and all of the things that it can do has changed my life.
Yes, it's very empowering, especially for women. We do a lot, like working with children, having a house and moving furniture and cleaning the house. We have to have that mobility. We have to have that strength to pick up the kids or move the furniture or go get the if you large animals like the horses and the cows and the sheep and everything like I was raised with. Like you had to handle large animals and things like that. So you couldn't necessarily be a weenie when it came to stuff. Yes. And having muscles too as a mom, and you talk about the confidence, it just reshapes your body. It reshapes your mind. It allows you to just feel better about yourself, especially after having it so much harder. Your body's not the same, like I honestly think my body's the best it's ever been, even after having a baby. That recreated or rebuilt, or I can make what I want with my body, and I feel better now than I ever have. And I think every woman should be able. So I think strength training is exactly what women need to be doing.
Yeah, and that's not even talking about like the health benefits that women gain from strength training.
Yes. Most women, as we get older, our bone density, it's not as good. We get frail. Our testosterone, a lot of people die from falling and breaking a hip. And as you get older and you strength train, you put stress on those bones and it helps make them stronger. And, my whole goal is always laugh with my husband because he's older than me. But I look forward to pushing him in his wheelchair because nobody should. I get older, I will be changing my own diapers. And I told him, I never want to be that kind of person. Like I'm already stubborn as it is, and I'm already hard-headed as it is. I just don't want the help. And strength training has really helped me stay and move better and feel better, even with my cancer stuff. Like treatment rooms, and I watched people pretty much deteriorate. Not once did that uncle just tell me to eat better or move more or anything else. And from my cancer treatment that I was taking, I actually ended up with autoimmune arthritis, the tendonitis, whatever that cryptid stuff is called. There's just so much, it's all rambled together most of the time. But
Yeah.
the more I sat, the worse I felt. So that's really what pushed me even harder to try to learn how to beat it. So there's a lot of new studies now coming out with the fact that muscle is for longevity, and it's helping
Mhm.
quality that you have, the more chance you have at fighting cancer. So sign me up. I'm for it, And even here, I don't know, about a couple months ago, maybe like 3 months ago, when I went for my last PET scan, the doctor actually told me that because the Keytruda actually started attacking my heart and my lungs, I got to where
Mm.
I couldn't do anything like that. So I was having a hard time. And he did tell me that was the only reason I didn't end up on a ventilator, was because of my lifestyle, because I continued to strength train, because I continued to
Wow.
eat food. Like, my husband makes fun of me because I'm always reading labels, but a 10-year-old is now reading labels. So I'm
Yeah.
learning, like, cancer's not cool by any means, but there is a silver lining with it. And I think everything does happen for a reason. And that is why I do love my job so much, and getting women to get out and move, because there was a lot of women that I saw that just gave up. And I
Mm.
felt like, give me 5 minutes and I'll help you. You know what I mean? Like being able to sit on a toilet or just go to the groceries.
Mm.
At one point, I got to where I couldn't even turn the steering wheel because my arthritis was so bad in my hands. So
Wow.
there might have been days I might have had some meltdowns and strapped myself to a barbell, but I got my workout done. And that helped my mental health too, trying to fight this, because I really was not aware of actually how bad the cancer
Mhm.
was till about 6 months ago. And
Oh my gosh. Like, what do you mean? You
like,
didn't realize how bad it
I,
was.
well, I got a new PA, and she was explaining to me, because I asked her, because this year I've had 6 other minor surgeries to have more spots
Mm.
removed off my skin. So I had the main melanoma that was down on one of my glutes. So I had that, and then I had to have that removed, and then my lymph nodes as well. So with all the different surgeries, I'm up and down in my strength training. So the other thing I have to deal with too is a lot of inflammation. Well, the eating cleaner and the whole foods just keeps the inflammation down. I don't do gluten anymore. Being a ranch kid, I was raised on the ranch with all the
Mhm.
livestock and all the fresh meat and all the garden and all of that. So my history actually just kind of came back around, and it helped me a lot to move forward in that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yes, that did help
No,
me.
yeah. So are you saying like with this new PA,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
telling you like this was a lot more serious than I think these other people described this to you?
Yes, because the oncologist is like, all right, I'll see you in 6 months. Bye. And then I asked her the other
Okay.
day here, because I had some minor surgeries here in the chest. And I asked her, I was like, so what's the likelihood of this coming back? And she turns around, she pats me on the shoulder, and she was like, no, it's not if it comes back, it's when it comes back. And when it comes
Mm.
back, it's going to be either in the chest or in the brain. And I was like, what? Like, excuse me? I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean when, like, matter of time? And she's like, well, that's the kind of cancer that you do have. Like, the
Mm.
talking about the different genes that I had and stuff like that. My body cannot produce the brakes to shut the cancer down. So if I get
Okay.
it, I get it. Like, it's
Um,
got like shut down immediately. So the treatment that they actually gave me, the Keytruda, I would have to go in and take it again. But the first time around, I was actually only able to get 4 treatments instead of the 12. So my
mm.
body doesn't already like it.
Okay.
So that's when she was kind of like, well, we'll just have to kind of figure it out from there. And right now you're just going to look like Swiss cheese, because we're just going to have to just cut it off. So
Mm.
my preventative right now is just big chunks cut out. And every 3 months, I'm going in for skin checks. They cut big chunks out. So I'm
Okay.
back up. So I'm in and out.
Okay.
So my strength
Yeah.
training has actually helped me keep a little bit of sanity, is really what that's done.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I was not aware it was that bad.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You thought like this was gone or like
Yeah,
it
like
was.
I thought, like, all right, cool, next chapter of my
Mhm.
life. And she's like, no. And then she showed me all the different scans on my portal that I had no idea that I could do. But she's like, this one is hardened, and then the Keytruda treatment has actually hardened some of my lymph nodes. So my
Okay.
lymph system is not working correctly. So not only
Mm.
did they cut half of it out on one side, the other side is hardened. So I have a lot of swelling on one side, and the other side I don't. So
Mm.
I don't have a lot of circulation on one side either. So I have a lot of tingling in the fingers and stuff like that. But she did say that with my lifestyle, I should be okay to move and be able to keep
Okay.
going. So that had made
Yeah.
me feel a bit better. But
Mm.
no, she just said, yeah, it's coming back. We just don't know when.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And for those listening, you're like, what? What do you mean? Like you didn't know. So Cheyenne actually lives in the same town I live, Del Rio, Texas. It's a rural town, Southwest Texas. We're on the border. There is not like the greatest medical care here. And a lot of the times our doctors are not very forthcoming with us and like they don't always give us all the information we need. And sometimes it's because we don't know the questions to ask,
Yes,
which
exactly.
sucks.
Yeah.
So this is unfortunately not like an unusual situation
Yeah.
because of just where we are.
And that's a lot of the thing too. Like when I went and got my certification to work with hormones and things like that, like the bone pain, the tendonitis, I was like, there's days that my feet didn't work. So I was like, well, I got 3 kids in the house. What am I going to do with that? You know, and they were young, you know, what was I supposed to do? Yell at them from the bed, make them act from the bed, you know? So I
Yeah.
started all the hormones and things like that. And I had talked to the oncologist about it. And I was like, what do you want me to do with this? I did the research here. Like, what do you think about trying this kind of treatment? Instead of loading me up on, what is that called? Prednisone?
Yeah.
I had to take the steroid one time because the top of my feet lost all of the circulation on the top.
Okay.
So the Keytruda was attacking my feet and it put 15 pounds on me in 5 days. And I was like,
Wow.
bad for my heart. Like, let's not do this anymore. What can we do to,
Yeah.
you know, like a different treatment? So it actually wreaked pretty good havoc on my hormones, like my testosterone and my estrogen. So being in the fitness world, you got to have the testosterone to build muscle. So I knew there was something wrong and there was a lack of something in between there, but I had to educate myself to ask him the right questions. And even at that, he still didn't have the right answers for me. Like, he's like, okay, well, let's deal with it. And I was like, well, that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just dealing with it ain't work for me, sir.
Yes.
So.
And so let me take us a little bit back because I know I skipped over this question. I ask it to everybody, but I mean, even just taking all of that into consideration, what is your definition of a balanced life? You have a lot going on, right? And then you run your own business. What does balance look like for you?
Balance for me, I would like my 5 a.m. alarm to go off and get up and go get breakfast. I am big on eating at home, so I kind of like my peace and quiet in the house before the kids get up and destroy, you know, my sanity. But I'd like my breakfast, go over my plans that I have, like my programming with my clients, and then go in and have class at 6 and, you know, be done by lunch. I like to have a little walk in between there, but I really think that for me, my people kind of keep me a little bit balanced, kind of bring me in, keep me down from being all over the place and worrying about the other health stuff that I got going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like, who are your people that keep you balanced?
well, of course, my heathen boys that I'm raising, but my clients, of course, I love hanging out with them and stuff like that. You know, I spend quite a bit of time with them, and me helping them helps me. So working with them and helping them feel better about themselves and them being able to move better. I know what it feels like to not be able to do that. And just to see them do better for themselves makes me feel better too. So it's kind of like a therapy for me. Therapy session for them and therapy session for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I think a lot of times we sometimes forget that balance isn't just our own job to do. Sometimes we have to rely on other people to help us live this life that we're wanting to create for ourselves.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I know the fitness world isn't about making a bunch of money. I mean, I guess there are trainers that do that. But at the end of the day, I do this because I enjoy what I do. And I love, I'm a nerd. I just love the information you can learn, you know, like how your body works and what you can do with it. You know, of course, I'm not going to be out there running 500 miles every day because I did that doc and they drop us off at the high bridge and tell us to run back to town. But there's other ways to move better and feel better, and working with them has really helped me move forward in my life and keep my sanity a little bit. So that's kind of more of a balanced life for me.
Well, that's good. And part of also what I was hearing you, because this is not always the case for every trainer, is you had said, I know what it's like to not be able to do what my clients can't do.
Yes.
So you have like some empathy, whereas there's trainers who they really don't know what it's like
No.
to have a body that looks different or to have some kind of or something that is blocking them from doing a certain movement.
Exactly.
But you have this empathy that maybe other coaches don't.
Yes. Like I said, when I had my big surgery, I mean, they cut half of my butt cheek off. So for
Mm,
me to do squats, they took a big old chunk like this and had to pull it
wow.
just for me to even sit. And then on the flip side, my hip flexor and my groin area, I had more stitches. They removed all the lymph nodes on that side. So for
Mm,
me to even sit in a chair or sit on a bike or even to walk, it was pulling stitches. And then it took, and then my body does not like stitches. So it was trying
mm,
to come out and spit them out. So I was trying not to get infections on a regular basis. Then on top of that, like once I started the treatments, I couldn't even get out of a chair because my body hurt so bad. So I was
yeah.
getting it from all kinds of sides. I do have clients that come in and they can't do certain things. And I understand. Like I know, I mean, I had a few meltdowns because
Mm,
he actually built me a gym. When all of this happened, he built me a gym in his garage. And I had me a few meltdowns because I am very strong headed and I'm going to do it
mm,
myself. So that was really hard for me.
okay.
Hard there for a little while. But the strength training brought it all back together for me too. That was my little bit of a balance in life in that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like finally being able to
Yes.
build back
Yes.
this
Build.
place where you could train again.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because I told my husband one day, I was like, therapy is just too expensive to pay for every day. Gym membership's cheaper. Bro,
Everyday therapy, I would not recommend.
yeah.
Yeah, that could rack up a pretty nice bill. Yeah.
You already think I'm expensive now? Like, let's try something else with this. So,
So I know there's a lot of women
yes.
who shy away from strength training because they think that they're going to look manly.
Yes. I was like that at one point in time. Like, but I didn't know any better, right? So genetically our bodies are not designed to be made like that. Like women with these big old sexy delts and an upper body, that
Mhm.
takes years. Like, I mean, decades of constant work to build those, like you
Yeah.
see with ladies with cool shoulders and stuff,
Mhm.
you know, it's the testosterone. And I wish women would get out of that and just go get stronger
Mhm.
because they're never going to look like that unless you're on gear, you're on steroids, or like
Yeah.
perfect every day and you're on a bodybuilding regimen for the rest of your life. And I think that this whole muscle mommy movement that's going on, I think that's great because I think
Mhm.
that women have been so stuck in a box. Like, oh, eat the
Yeah.
least amount of food that you can eat. Like, try to,
Mhm.
it's be little and be unseen. And that's, I'm not about, I want you to be strong. I want you to be able to hold your own ground. Even like with my clients, that's what I tell my women all the time. Like, girl, we're going to eat in this place. Like, we're going to eat that burger, eat that. Like,
Yeah.
EPAs, the amino acids in beef, like we need that. Our body needs that. So this whole muscle mommy movement that's going on is really good because I think it's empowering a lot of women too to step out of that comfort zone. Go pick up those dumbbells. And I don't mean like those 2s and 5s, but if you start there, that's okay. But to go
Yeah.
pick these in those 80s, there is nothing like when I see another mom that's out there picking up heavy stuff, I'm like, my husband always, don't even look at the dudes. I know, but look what she's doing. It's not it's the fact that she's here in her mental space and she's killing it. Like she's crushing it, picking up those big weights. I mean, that's hard. That's hard enough to get to the gym and then to go pick up something like that. Like,
Yeah.
get it. Like, fucking get it. I'm here for it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I feel bad for women too, like they want that toned look. Well, the way you
Mhm.
get the toned look is picking up the heavy stuff. It
Yeah.
is the deadlifts,
Mhm.
it is the squats, it is the bench presses, and it's eating protein and it's eating food. And you have
Yeah.
to nourish our body.
Mhm.
I have some clients right now that are breastfeeding.
Mm.
They 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. And they're like, oh, I've never felt this good in my life. I was like, food, food,
Yes.
let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to eat
You need to
more
eat.
food.
Like, yes,
Yeah.
like good quality whole food. And it's hard because we have been, I don't know what the word is, but we have all been pushed to fit this little bitty box, like I
Mhm.
said, and stay
Yeah.
in the little box. I'm like, why can't we have a voice? Why can't we eat better? Why can't we take care of ourselves? We do our hair and our nails. Like, why can't we eat better? You know, why
Yeah.
can't we go to the gym and have a gym membership? Like, why can't we do that? Why can't we have
Mhm.
that 45 minutes to ourselves? We do everything else for everybody else. We should have that time
Mhm.
for ourselves as well. So definitely here for the muscle mommy movement. And it's a little bit bigger and it's okay to look strong. That's what I keep
Yeah.
telling girls because they do tell me that, like, well, I don't want to look all manly. I'm like, no, girl, you're going to look strong. I want to mess with you. It's what that's going to
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're not gonna look like a man because
no,
you're not. Yeah.
no. Yeah, we're not. God didn't create us that way. He did not give us that extra testosterone. Yes, we do have it, but not like a man. Now, genetics do play a role, but you're like, I mean, you sometimes you do
Mhm.
see some women with some big shoulders and some big muscles like that. A lot of that's genetic too. So
Yeah.
but that's decades. I'm going to be honest. That's decades
Hmm.
of work to put in to get something like that.
Yes. Yes. And that's another thing I think that women need to realize too. This is not an overnight thing. This
No.
takes consistent work. And if you do want to see your muscles that are this what toned, right? Like
Yeah.
that look, it takes years. The progression is not as quick as like people who are just doing cardio and starving themselves. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
different.
I used to weigh when I first started my little fitness journey. In high school, I played ball. So I was already an athlete, like state playoffs,
Mm,
basketball, track, cross country, volleyball, showing livestock, working out the ranch. I already moved. I already did everything. But when I started with my cardio bunny life, all eat as little as possible to be a skin. I did it. I weighed 135 pounds. I am 5'8". And
wow.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I weigh 170 pounds now. Do I have some little extra fluff in there? Absolutely. But now, what I don't do is I don't judge myself. I'm not
Mm,
mean to myself like I used to be. I am like, I'll go play
mhm.
with the boys in the gym. That ain't no problem. I will pick up that
Yeah.
heavy. I got away from the cardio because not only was it a mental thing for me, I started looking at everything needed to be perfect. So my mental
Mm,
health wasn't there, you know, and I was sleeping. Like I'd go to gym class, right? I'd go do my group exercise class for an hour of cardio. Then I'd go 35 more minutes on the cycling class. Like it was back to cardio. Like my
wow.
cortisol levels were up over here, skyrocketing, you know, like,
Oh yeah.
like no, we don't need to be doing that. And it took a while to learn that, but that's when I got into the personal training because I just felt horrible. My body hurt. My hair was falling out.
Mm,
I was malnourished, is honestly what it was. And I was over.
yeah.
So I was like, got to be a better way for me to do this. Right. So when I started educating myself on it, and then when this whole muscle mommy craze came around, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, so I'm not crazy. I didn't like it. It just made me feel better about myself that I'm like, oh, okay. So I am supposed to eat food and I am supposed to
Yeah.
pick because I do feel better when I do that way. Because at the end of the day, the muscle's the longevity. So the better quality muscle mass you have from strength training, the better you're going to feel.
Yeah.
Handle that arthritis. It's going to handle those like diabetes and all of that, the bone density, was it sarcopenia and all of that fun stuff. It helps not get rid of, but it helps slow that down. Even
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing that I hate hearing people like people who are maybe just not on the same journey is like, oh, well, just wait till you're
no.
30 or just wait till you're
Yeah.
40 or
Yeah.
what, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll just wait till the next. Like, no,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
am
start now.
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I start now. Get to 40. Like you're losing it as you're getting to 40.
Yeah.
You're losing that muscle mass. And especially women, because of the testosterone, it is so much
Mhm.
harder to put that muscle mass on. I know there's a whole big fancy percentage with it, but you do. As you age, your muscle mass drops and your bone density drops. That's like I said, that's why your hips break. That's why everything goes south, literally, because it can't hold itself up. Like we talk about posture and we're always crunched over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Same thing. When we go down here, like then we end up with heart problems and it crushes, you can't breathe right. So
Mhm.
that's when I get into movement is medicine, like walking. Women underestimate the power of walking. Like just go outside and walk.
Mm. Yeah.
You don't have to go and die and do 500 miles of cardio or like you really don't.
Yeah.
I was guilty 100%. I did not know any better till I started paying attention to my body and starting to
Mhm.
learn what was okay for me. And then I started watching other people. Then I started educating myself. And that's honestly why I like the personal training. That's why I started doing that, was from sitting in those rooms, watching everybody else essentially die,
Yeah.
rooms. I was like, well, I don't want to be another statistic. I don't want to, like I don't
Mhm.
want that. So I'm really glad women are starting to figure it out and start picking up the heavy stuff. It
Oh,
makes
yeah. Yeah. And there's such a difference between being able to prove to yourself that you can do something versus criticizing yourself into doing something. And I feel like a lot of the cardio stuff can get really dangerous in that it's like, oh, well, if you can't do this, then you're X, Y, and Z, or you're not dedicated enough, or you just need to be able to do 500 of these
yes,
burpees or whatever.
yes. And I see that. I see that a lot. And at the end of the day, that's not good for your mental health either. Like, don't be mean to
Mhm.
yourself. That's what I tell my
Yeah.
clients all. And even like with my meal plans and working with, because I have a nutritionist and a chef that I train and work with in
Mm.
my studio. She's great. She's fabulous. And she has helped me with other women too, teach women that you can eat those things and not have to go die for 5 hours on a cardio machine. And I just feel like if you eat like shit, you have to go do 500 calories on a cardio machine. You have to. I'm like, well, why do you have to punish yourself for eating good?
Mhm.
And I don't think women should have to do that. And I know men do it, but not like we do it. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
women have been made to fit into, like I said, that little box and that perfect skin.
Yeah.
No cellulite. Like, girl, I got some. Like when ask me, I'm like, I got it and I'm okay with it. And it took me a
Yeah.
long time to get there because what I had to learn to do is change the mindset on it, right? I might not be as cute and lean as I used to be, but I'm much stronger and I can definitely hold my own now. As before, the cardio class and sleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
Now, like I do 30-minute strength training and I'm ready to conquer the world. Of course, I like the squats and of course, I like the deadlifts. Those are my favorite ones.
Mhm.
But I do like that military press, like when you got that big 45-pound bar and you're picking
Mhm.
that bar up over your head. That's the most empowering. Like, how many women can do that? Like that's
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, like I think about it, because my husband made fun of me one time. He's like, "Why do you feel that?" I was like, "What if I got to throw my kid off the roof or onto the roof?
Yeah.
Push him somewhere up and over because we're always at the lake.
Mhm.
Like we're on the boat or I'm in the water and I got to put him up on the boat.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Fell in, I had to get in and get him out. What if I got to do something like that? He weighs a good 80 pounds. I got to be able to throw feed sacks.
Uh-huh.
I got horses,
Yeah.
rabbits. I got to be able to throw feed sacks. And for some ungodly reason, I got 5 dogs too. So,
Those
oh,
those 50-pound bags can get heavy.
yeah,
100 pounds, 50 pounds. Yeah.
yeah. So strength training, yes, it like my confidence is there. My husband always makes fun of me too because he's like, you could be nice. Like you don't have to look like you're mad at the world or just be like that all the time. I was like, why don't me? And then somebody showed me a picture and I was like, oh, maybe I do feel a little better. But it's just the confidence that you build from strength training. You just feel better about yourself and you can hold your own and you can set boundaries. And I feel like
Yeah.
in this world, we need boundaries because people take advantage of people all the time. And for a woman to say no, like
Yeah.
I think they should because before I married my husband now, was in a marriage that was abusive and he beat me. And I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to do that. And so that's where a lot of the whole working out really helped me is it taught me to hold my own and set the
Mhm.
boundaries and feel better about myself. And I think that's good for women to do too, because
Yeah.
you're made to fit in this box and be frail. And I don't think that's our box anymore. And I think we need to go somewhere
No. Absolutely. I'm here for that.
else.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Cheyanne, for taking the time to come on the show and be a guest. But if someone's listening and they're like, oh, I want to work with her,
Yes.
or like, I want to get into her world, what is
Yeah.
the best way to like get in contact with you or get into your world?
So I do have a Facebook and I do have an Instagram. It is Iron Core Wellness. And then I do have my own personal one. But if you can find me on those, you can message me. I'll talk to you. If you need help on any nutrition, you need help on workouts, I offer any of that. Like I said, if you are here in Del Rio, I do have my own wellness studio. It is private. So that just means I'm the only trainer in there. I do have some machines. I am a lot more, I'm not going to say old school, but I do like the more free weights. So I'm not like the
Mm.
with all the machines. I do have the bench. I've got the squat racks and things like that. But yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, any of those on there. And I do have online services. So anywhere I can help you.
Okay, cool.
Whatever, I can write your workouts. Even if you just have like a quick question about sleeping or muscle mass or what I should be eating or how much protein I should be eating, message me. I'm not a gatekeeper. I want
Mm.
everybody to feel good, and I want everybody to know that they can feel good. So anywhere on social media would be good with me.
Okay, awesome. And then we'll definitely link those up in the show notes.
Yeah.
So if you're like wanting to get with her, just look in the show notes. It'll be there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Yes, ma'am. I hope you do. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.